Hard work used to mean something. If you showed up early, stayed late, did what you were told, you were promised progress. But look around. People are working harder than ever, yet freedom feels further away than it did decades ago. This isn't because people got lazy, and it's not because you're doing something wrong. It's because the rules changed. Hard work didn't stop paying off by accident. It stopped paying off because the system evolved, and most people didn't. For a long time, effort was leverage. Factories needed hands, offices needed bodies. The more hours you gave, the more value you created. But today, effort is everywhere. Millions of people are working long hours, hustling, grinding, sacrificing sleep. When something becomes common, it loses value. And the world doesn't reward what's common. Here's the first hard truth. Hard work is no longer scarce. Leverage is. The modern economy doesn't reward how hard you work. It rewards how many people your work can reach and how long it can work without you. You can work 10 hours a day. Someone else works 2 hours and earns more than you do in a month. Not because they're smarter, not because they're luckier, but because they're playing a different game. You were taught to trade time for money, hours for pay, years for promotions. But time has a limit. You only get 24 hours in a day. Once they're gone forever. Hard work locks you to human limits. Meanwhile, the people pulling ahead aren't working harder. They're using leverage. Leverage looks boring from the outside. A piece of software, a digital product, a content platform, an investment, a system. They do the work once and get paid repeatedly. You do the work repeatedly and get paid once. That's the gap. Here's the uncomfortable truth most people avoid. The system rewards results, not effort. You can exhaust yourself and still fall behind. You can struggle endlessly and still lose, because struggle isn't valuable. Impact is. The market doesn't care how tired you are. It doesn't care how many late nights you worked. It doesn't care how badly you wanted it. It cares about scale, reach, ownership. That's why some of the hardest working people are the least free. Teachers, nurses, factory workers, single parents working 2 jobs. Not because they lack discipline, but because discipline without leverage traps you. And here's where it gets darker. Hard work is still heavily promoted, not because it leads to wealth, but because it keeps people busy. Busy people don't question systems. Tired people don't build alternatives. Exhausted people accept survival as success. You're praised for hustle, applauded for overtime, respected for sacrifice, but rarely rewarded with freedom. That's not a mistake. Hard work became a control mechanism the moment it stopped being tied to ownership. This doesn't mean hard work is useless. It means hard work without leverage is a dead end. Effort should build assets, not just pay bills. The most dangerous belief today isn't laziness. It's believing that doing more of the same will eventually change the outcome. Because if hard work alone created wealth, the hardest workers would be the richest. They're not. The people who win today control distribution. They own systems. They turn effort into assets. They don't ask, how many hours does this take? They ask, how many people does this reach? How long does this last? How often does this pay me back? That's the shift. So the real question isn't, how hard am I working? It's, where does my effort go when I stop? Does it disappear the moment you rest, or does it continue without you? Hard work no longer pays off when it's disconnected from ownership. And the moment you understand that, you stop burning energy just to survive and start building leverage to escape. The game didn't end. It just stopped explaining itself. And now that you see it, you'll never look at hard work the same way again.